Marty De Los Santos here with. I'm going to be walking through today's webinar for franchisors. As you see from the title, using Qvinci to reporting and royalty calculations. Before we get started, just like to point out, as Kristen has already mentioned, you can use the chat feature throughout the webinar to ask questions. We'll get to them right away or at the end during the Q&A. So, colleagues will also be, Kristen will help answer those questions as well. So as you can see, the topic again, today is really a webinar for franchisors. Again, how Qvinci can help your reporting royalty calculations. Not able to take full notes as you wish during today's webinar. Please note the webinar is being recorded and will be added to our website, but also all those who have registered. All right. Well, let's get the ball rolling. Again, thank you all for joining. I appreciate you taking time this afternoon or morning, depending on your location, just to do a quick overview and kind of understand how the solution for Qvinci works. So again, just to Qvinci, again, we're not an industry-specific solution. It's really agnostic. Multiple size of organizations that the solution's available for, from one file to 10,000 plus files / locations that you may be consolidating. Here are just some of the clients, notable clients that do utilize our solution. Kind of an overview of what's going to go on today. So we'll do an overview of the application itself, look at navigation functionality and some other items, and then we'll also dive into some additional slides and talking about how Qvinci can help simplify your reporting practices and help with your royalty calculations as well. At the end of it, there will be a Q&A session. But again, keep in mind if we're in an area and it triggers a question for you, by all means, feel free to chat it in. Myself or my colleague Kristen will be more than either at that time or once we get to Q&A session as well. So we're going to move over to just a quick overview of the application itself. And by the way, we do make our online demo available for you to view right off our website. Just using that link up there on the top of this particular slide. And it's free and available. You can run reports, look at all the widgets that are on the dashboard as well, just to help you become much more familiar with our solution. So let me actually share my screen of the actual presentation here. Right, so you should be seeing the actual application itself. Logged in. I am logged into our dashboard page. A couple things just to highlight. From a branding standpoint, we get questions from time to time. Can we white label this? Yes, you can. On the top left here, where you see name or your logo. We do come across some organizations that may have multiple brands that they are managing, and for the ones that do want to keep them separate, they're able to create those under this top here, where I can create multiple companies to consolidate files just within those organizations. Right now we're looking at multi-store franchise. Jason has 13 locations. Keep in mind, I am logged in from an administrative level point of view, so someone who has access to all the information, all the locational information as well. In our demo site, we simply just use city and state, your naming mechanism for how you identify your different locations. Find that yourself. Right now, the data that we're looking in the body of the page is consolidated information across these 13 locations. Summary, P&L year over year, and so forth, including bank data. And if you just hover, you can see just get some information, really any items. If I wanted to just look at a single location, I can simply click on that location, and now we are just looking at the details for Austin. Hear this, all my locations. So it's redone its consolidation that quickly, gone from a single location. But the big item, of course, really the meat is with our solution is in our reporting application. Reporting on the top right. and it opens up to my reports. A few things just to note on this particular page. On the far left side, just like with the dashboard, do I want to run this report for all of my locations, or do I want to select some? I got a couple ways I can do that. One, if I click on locations, pick and choose. Maybe I only want to look at a few locations at a time from a reporting standpoint. Or we also have what's called properties, which are basically filters for those who are familiar with buying things online. The way you can kind of slice and dice what you want to look for. For example, if you break up your business by region, you want to look at the function reporting just for that particular region. Maybe you look at your royalty calculations based on. Here's one way you can really filter those out and run those separately as necessary. In the middle here, we have memorized reports. We know that if there's certain reports that you want to run fairly frequently, you don't want to have to go back in and recreate those reports each time you want to run them. So we give you the option now, an opportunity to memorize memorize reports. Create a report, name it what you want to call it. Like for example, I've got a P&L by location year to date. Click on that, and now it's going to go ahead and run this report. It is year to date, so up through today. It's got all the 13 locations from the previous screen that we were looking at. And again, it ran this consolidated report in a matter of under a second. It performed all those calculations. See all of my income information here as well. And every report that you find in Qvinci will give the opportunity to export it out to Excel. Again, this was a memorized report. I could rename it. If it was a report I have not run before, it'll ask me to memorize it right here. Track of all the information that you need. This consolidation, by the way, just to quickly talk about our technology related to that. We have automated syncing processes with QuickBooks, both their desktop and online solutions. With Xero, we also automatically sync. It's called MYOB, and we can also sync from Excel. Now, of course, with Excel, that is a manual effort. You have to get it into our format to do that sync. But you're an organization that may have locations that are using differing applications. Maybe a couple are using QuickBooks Online, a couple are using desktop. Somebody's just using Excel, somebody's using Xero. Once all that information gets into Qvinci, we will consolidate information from all those differing sources. Back to reporting, again, peer benchmarking. How are your organizations performing against each other? So, do I want to look at a P&L? Do I want to compare each location across the overall average of my locations, just to the top 10% within our ecosystem? Time frames that are available. You guys want to look at the last calendar year or last fiscal year. How do we perform? I want to turn on vertical analysis to see percent of revenue as well. And again, this report, do I want to run it for all my locations or just on a regional basis? If region is one of the ways that you want to separate your organization. And keep in mind, again, just to restate, you have up to 20 filters that you can create here that you can customize yourself. Things that make sense for your own particular business, whether it be region, by state, by location, size. Is it a freestanding location versus a location that's within a strip mall? Again, you can make those determinations whenever you create your Qvinci account. Build the report, and now it's doing a side-by-side comparison of all of my locations against the top 10% within the. If I can see what the top 10% are doing, then I can see what each location is doing as well. If I wanted to run that for a single location, I could do so as well. I want to see how Austin is performing against top 10%. Create that report again. So now I just have this one location versus all my locations. This is also a report. Again, keep in mind I'm logged in as an admin, so I can see everything. Our system allows for unlimited users. So if the Austin location themselves wanted to do their own comparison, that user could log in, see only his or her own numbers, but they could still compare their numbers against the average or your top 10% without knowing who those numbers belong to. There's no way for them to back in to see which locations make up the top 2 of the 13 locations in this particular instance. But they can see how they're performing, how they compare, and maybe look at, especially if you turn on vertical analysis, see percent of revenue, how am I performing percentage-wise versus what the top 10% are doing? there are places for improvement where I can follow their practices, either from an income standpoint or even expenses, COGS standpoint, where I need to maybe make some adjustments, follow the same behaviors that they're following for their business. Again, several other reports that are available as well, from balance sheet, cash flow, ratios, AR aging, AP aging, and so forth, expense by vendor. Another key item that a lot of our clients like is the health check feature. Let's make sure that all of your files that are coming in are balanced, basically. Again, here, this is going to let you know wherever there may be issues related to the files. Hope these numbers are zero. If they're not, you can click on this and it'll show you where the issue lies. So give you some heads up where you can go back to your accounting application or to your Excel file to know, where is this issue coming from. We had a client that came on board, was able to utilize this tool, and realized based on the location of the entity that the POS system for that particular location was feeding bad data. You can see numerous reports that are available. P&Ls by location, by, again, if I'm doing my royalties, I just want to see specifically what's happening with one location, my profit and loss, whatever the time frame could be, maybe last year. Go through, look at the income of that particular location. Or again, if you broke it out by region, for that particular region. Let's go ahead and get back to the slideshow itself. All right, so dashboard, again, creating and memorized reporting, standard chart of accounts. Didn't really show that on here, but with our solution, part of our technology is that we've created technology that when you first get on board, we'll look at the chart of accounts for all your different locations, and you can actually utilize our technology to map to a standard. For example, we have technology that knows words like lease versus rent and know that they are basically the same item. So rather than have those be two separate line items across your organization, let's make those one whenever you're looking at a report, a P&L report for your organization. But even doing so, even though you may be utilizing a standard, you can still run reports, and your locations can still run reports when native chart of accounts as well. Talked about properties, which are those filters that you can create, ranking and benchmarking, automated files. So one thing I hadn't touched on with the automated syncing, again, for QuickBooks Online and Xero accounting application, both of those, it's just an automated sync that happens every day at 2 a.m. in the morning. With the desktop, it's an automated sync that whenever a file is logged in, has a file open, it'll automatically sync in the background. So again, you're saving time of that, having to put the information together, fax it to you, email it, send it to you. However they're doing it today, it really saves on that time, and knowing that the information that you're looking on daily or weekly is very current, and you can grasp at how those. Initially, we will sync up to 36 months of data. And one thing, we are the reporting partner for the Intuit franchise program, for those who may not know that. And it is patented technology that you're consolidation technology and our mapping technology as well. Automatic daily file consolidation. Again, the solution is a software as a service, web-based application, single sign-on. We allow for unlimited users application and our permissions that you can grant. So again, example of that we're looking at on my particular demo, the Austin location, they only have access to see their own number. Dynamic mapping to a standard chart of accounts. If anything comes in as unmapped moving forward, you can map it, and from that moment forward, it'll always be mapped unless any kind of made. You can different kind of reports. You can set your goals and alerts. We have certain alerts you can set up for based on the chart of account. Maybe there's certain thresholds that you're towards hitting. You can set up alerts, daily or weekly. Give alerts via email, and go to you, or you have those maybe go to your franchisees. So what are the benefits really for the franchises? Saves time and energy with automated daily financial consolidation and file check. Again, the system's going to do that automatically for you with that health check. The system will also automatically do that with you with regards to your daily syncing if you're using QuickBooks or Xero, one of the other applications. You can monitor key metrics from our dashboard. It's goal alignment throughout the application, throughout your organization, and again supports insightful reporting structures through use of. Those are those properties that you're able to build, which are basically filters you can use from your reporting standpoint of ways that you can really slice and dice reports to kind of grab the information that you're. So the setup, again, there is one main admin of the system. The logins. Screen kind of highlights how it works in consolidation for multiple Z's. In this case, we have location 1, there's a single contributor. Location 2, 2 contributors. That could be one of your franchisees that may own 2 stores. They're the contributor to those files for both of those stores. Location 3, 1. We'll work with you and your franchisees to get up and running with the system. A mass email is sent to contributors with very explicit instructions on how the process will work, and the overall setup. Not the syncing, but the overall account setup. Getting your locations created. The attributes that you want to utilize for the locations, and how those can interact. Really play a role with the filters that you're creating for your reporting system, and then also going through the entire syncing process. Well, all that can be completed in really 4 hours or less. Moving forward, the sync doesn't take very long at all. And customize your custom standard chart of accounts. We have certain templates that are available. We have several organizations that will want to utilize their own standard chart of accounts. 5 levels of hierarchy. Mapping to known keywords. Pairs, paint and maintenance, you see there. And again, as mentioned before, after you've done your initial mapping, you can look for unmapped items with reporting and be able to make those corrections and map those items. And again, once they're remapped, they will fall into the appropriate. Again, from your royalty calculation standpoint, again, you understand the POS system feeds and revenue to your accounting application. We automatically sync those files daily, P&Ls for your desired date range, and be able to export any report out to Excel to be able to run your calculations. All can be done very quickly and easily, especially once you have the information within Qvinci or by region, or maybe you want to look at all the revenue for last year in a quick and easy referral across your locations to really make sure that you got. Talked about the properties. Again, these are the reporting filters. 20 custom non-financial properties. Accommodate complex organizational structures. And again, these are yours to define and create things that really make sense for your organization. For example, years in business, defining population, staff size, square footage, region, etc. Filter reports, by these properties, including the benchmarking report. How does it help for year-end consolidation? Daily file sync and health check, really help to catch the errors and issues as they occur throughout the year. Again, so you're going to save time there, not finding all the errors just at the end of the year. Up to 3 years of data each time a sync occurs. So it's an ongoing process that will be happening with as you become a client and you move down the road with Qvinci. It's year-end consolidation with the push of a button. It gives you a good state of the business report packet using properties to generate reports, whether you're doing side by side or fully consolidated reports. examples of year-end reporting, top revenue generators, most profitable locations. Again, and these are things based on using certain properties to really help with accommodating your year-end reporting. That was a quick overview again of just how the solution is really available and what tools are available to help franchisors and franchisees with utilization. There may be some of you may have had questions already throughout the webinar, but here we are opening it up. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to submit a question in, and either I'll help address those. One question that did come in: is there an additional cost for additional users? Great question. No, there's not. So again, with our solution, we have unlimited users. We do not charge by the user. Files, / locations that are being application. Question came in regarding the chart of accounts and using standard. Yes, you can. You do not have to use Qvinci's standard chart of accounts. If you have one that you have defined and created for your own organization that you want all your locations to follow, yes, you can import that and utilize that as your standard chart of accounts. So currently, from an accounting application standpoint, we sync automatically with QuickBooks. Again, both their online and desktop solutions. Also automatically with Xero, another application called MYOB. Beyond that, it's just with Excel, and of course, Excel, that is a manual syncing process for those organizations have locations that are utilizing it. Another question about which application. Again, it is QuickBooks, both online and desktop, Xero, MYOB. Beyond that, if you have any locations that are utilizing any other accounting applications or some other methods, they would have to get it to Excel in order to get that information synced in. Again, if you're using some other named application, as long as they're able to get that data into our template, our Excel template, they can sync that information up. So the application does not have to be using QuickBooks or Xero MYOB. Get it into Excel format, into our template format. They can then visible, and again, those numbers will consolidate with data that's coming in from other locations that may be utilizing QuickBooks or Xero, and be able to perform those consolidations. Other questions that again, if there's anything that we didn't cover today, again, keep in mind it is a bit of a high-level overview of what we walked through today. Here at Qvinci, more than happy to assist you and walk with you through maybe a much more detailed presentation of the system, or even answer some questions that you maybe have that may be kind of challenging to address just via the chat window. Again, please give us a call. Number 512-637-7337 will get you to QAvinci. Also get to the sales department to help address any questions you may have, or again, to go through a more detailed walkthrough of the application. And one other question that did come through: do all users have to be on the same version of the accounting software? No, they do not. Different versions of QuickBooks. I don't know how many different versions it has. Consolidation will still occur once all that information is in QAvinci. Consolidate from multiple sources. So locations using Excel, some locations using over 20 or whatever the case could be. Consolidation will still take place for those that information. Other questions? Head open for another few moments. Thinking process again for QuickBooks Online and Xero. It's daily at 2 a.m. With desktop, enterprise. That can occur as frequently as somebody's logged in, file open, it'll sync automatically. Kristen may be able to help address if there's any greater frequency at which information can be synced. So the cost for the solution, again, it is based on the number of files, / locations, and I say because with QuickBooks we can sync by class. We do have actually a client that utilizes our solution file, as I believe up to around 5 different classes that are within that single file, and they want consolidation across those 65 items, and as well as to see them separately. So for them, it is 65. In our world, it is 65 locations that they're bringing. Based on that number, it's not based on number of users. It's not based on levels that are available that you can readily see on our website. Majority of our clients are utilizing the based on the number of files, / locations that are being synced with the solution. Getting to. Question came in about how often can you sync with QuickBooks Online and Xero. You can sync one time per hour per file, plus also the files do sync every night at 2 a.m. QuickBooks Desktop, you can have unlimited sync. Any other questions? Not able to get to your question today, again, please do give us a call. You can also send us an email directly, as you see on the screen, sales@qvinci.com. Again, our number, just one last time, you can write it down, 512-637-7337 is the number for QAvinci, and more than happy to assist you, maybe greater detail of the application, especially as it pertains to your specific environment, or even go through a more specific walkthrough of the application, based on your specific. Again, Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. Again, keep in mind this webinar was recorded and will be available on our website soon. But each of you will also get the slideshow sent to you as well if there were any specific slides that you wanted to take down. Once again, thank you, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you on our next webinar.
Thank you. Please stand by.